Some players can sit in private voice chats for days at a time, only interacting with their surrounding guildies and closest of friends, and others, more unusual players, enjoy socially interacting with others and making small talk whilst fast travelling. And what is the worst possible place to do this interaction? You guessed it, in the back of the dreaded taxi. For multiple hours, you are potentially trapped in a private VC with another player who you just don't know. Some players mastering this profession remain quiet, acknowledging the awkwardness of the situation. However, others scream down the microphone and constantly ask you questions about your current playthrough, or worse, they tell you every detail about their current playthrough. And to be honest, some players can be pretty cool about this, but others not so much. But taxis do have their uses. When consuming alcoholic flasks, many players experience a drunk debuff, giving +3 charisma but -2 dexterity. And this has a very long uptime, and you'll lose HP and barf everywhere if not dealt with accordingly. To avoid this, getting back to their player housing quickly is essential, and taxis are very useful for this. Just make sure you master the quick time events which appear when you start feeling a little nauseous, and you should be a-okay. Taxis are a firm F tier sadly, but have some great situational uses in special circumstances. Horses are a popular mount in the early patches of the game, to be sure. It revolutionized PvP and PvE in so many different ways throughout so many different patches. From the Mongolian plains conquered by the infamous guild leader Genghis Khan, who mastered the stat distribution and really understood every mechanic of the horse and what it had to offer in terms of PvP when horses were truly in the meta, all the way up until patch 1.854, when at the Battle of Balaclava, British commanders sent almost 600 light cavalry to clash against Russian cannons and muskets. Outmatched, the British PvPers were completely torn apart and took a fat L. This ended with many player wipes and really cemented the decline of the horseman up until this current patch. However, they do have their uses with some social activities. Many enjoy betting on players riding these horses during races and can potentially make a little bit of gold on the side. But the people who bet on this also consume far too many flasks and just get a little bit tipsy and spend a little bit too much gold. Other players really like to dig into the intricate mechanics of the horse and push the limits of what's possible in terms of speed, balance and power. Some horses are prone to glitching and bugging out at times, but that's just a quirk in some of the remaining legacy code of the game. Really, only the players with guild heritage and the necessary gold can really take part in this. For transporting yourself from A to B, horses are certainly slow, but can connect players with the open world, which the player base in recent years have lost connection with. As long as you don't mind the certain loot drops the horse can spawn, but this can be quite good if you've got a player house with plants to maintain. That's going to be a stinky debuff, my guy. Horses are a solid E tier. I really wish this could be higher. I'm going back to patch 1.800 when times were much simpler and become a cowboy for the aesthetic. Have you ever just stood there and seen something so weird and you're just like, bro, that is definitely a glitch. The devs definitely didn't intend for this to happen. Well, helicopters do that for me. Just look at them. No way, bro. They ain't flying. The code in the game just doesn't allow it. Go home. Nothing to see here. Anyway, helicopters have been around for many patches now, and yeah, they're okay. This little bit right here, this is a Jesus nut. And no, that's not an almond which has been crucified, but this little thing is a one point of contact between the body of the helicopter and its blades. And if this goes, then the only thing left to do is to pray to Jesus, because you're probably going to play a wipe. And yeah, they've had their key moments in PvP encounters very recently, iconically in the Vietnam PvP war. These helicopters were used extensively, especially the Huey, the one with the 2 blades on them. Also, plus the banging OST which went along that PvP conflict was really iconic. Some of the very best music the game's ever created. If not used for PvP, they are mainly owned by people who also have horses. Golf clubs, hotels, yachts all have helipads, so if you want to visit them in style, you better be making some smart trades on the auction house and getting that back. But they are particularly useful for rescue quests when players get stuck out in the open world, or trying to collect some mountain achievements for climbing them. But in terms of player transport, yeah, they are pretty nice, but I don't know, they freak me out a bit and look a kind of bit unnatural. So D tier it is for you. Now right in the middle of the pack we have buses. Now some buses completely smack. In the Swedish and Portuguese maps they have excellent bus networks, easy for players to fast travel without any fumbling around with their gold pouches or having to check their inventories for that dreaded ticket. They just have a little card that you tap and easy, you're on your bus and going to where you need to go. However, in some maps, buses are most detestable, awful, hell on wheels, claptraps that you've ever seen in your entire life. The amount of alternative players who are truly doing some wacky off-meta shit are all using buses. There always seems to be that one person who always tries to talk to you, and why is it not anyone else? Why is it always you? Do I look like I want to voice chat with you right now? No. I love the concept. Anything to get less cars off on the road is a tick in my player handbook. As long as I can drive my black Mustang around on empty roads, I'll be very happy. But the debuff you get from being cramped on a bus like this isn't ideal. So -2 in strength and a -1 in dexterity for the rest of the day due to being squished up next to some sweaty grinders isn't ideal for everyone. And if you don't have optimal balance stats to pass the quick time events when the bus stops, then you'll go flying and lose a hit point or 2. I certainly did last time I used one, -3 hit points just because I wasn't paying attention. Historically, buses have been pretty useful in general. I just think that some personal space is in order sometimes. A solid C tier. Cars have been around since patch 1.886 and they've been improving steadily ever since, and are now one of the main transport methods for the majority of players in the game. They offer a large personal inventory space, seating for multiple players, and reduce travel time significantly. Because of this, cars are one of the most popular popular transport methods. They have such an impact on the game that many player hubs are even built solely around the usage of cars. They are so prevalent that efforts in recent patches have been made to reduce car ownership due to the amount of server lag in certain areas when multiple cars get together. Also, a reduction is needed due to the stacking debuff that cars give off. This has been going on for a couple of patches now, and the stacking effect of this is starting to really negatively impact the health of other players. But honestly, what is the alternative? Why would the average player want to give up all this freedom? Admins and tech tree experts have been trying to move the player base to a more sustainable method of transport. Electric cars are okay, no massive debuff, but they cost considerably more gold to the average player in terms of infrastructure and actually purchasing the car in the first place. Another benefit is a massive variety in cars which can be obtained. You've got long cars for guilds and large parties, sleek cars which could almost fast travel, and then you've got ones with massive entry spaces for your traders and crafters. Cars being versatile is a little bit of an understatement. They can go almost anywhere in the entire game. If they just didn't have a massive debuff attached to them, they would honestly be S tier, but B tier it is for you. Next up, we have electrical scooters. Controversial placement time. Now these are a great concept, reducing the amount of cars and player hubs and allowing for players to make short-term journeys effectively without much upfront cost and commitment to actually own one is really great. In the UK, people are essentially renting these scooters from an array of them. They boot their phone over, pay some gold and zoom around for a limited time, and once this is all over, they go to a little store and store them away. But what could go wrong with this? It sounds perfect. Well, players, that's who. Players who are irresponsible and are the problem. The amount of players which have no regard for other players' safety is insane. They zoom around pedestrian areas, nearly causing player wipes for those walking about. On 4 different occasions, I've either been clipped, hit, or almost hit by these things. I've taken significant damage to my hit points from other players who have been way too drunk to drive one of these things with way too many debuffs. Not even some of the best drinkers in the entire game can manage pathing correctly, and God forbid if you try and manage your pathing correctly on a scooter with someone on the back, you're just not doing it. This is ending badly. I think they are excellent concepts, but practically in the real game, not so much. They could be S++ tier if admins just put a little bit more infrastructure in and had a little bit more control over the speed that these things were allowed to go at, if they didn't allow drunk players. I'm honestly surprised that more player wipes haven't occurred. Oh wait, there is a couple. Well, A tier it is for you. Now trains are completely based. They are one of the best transport methods for players, and they link up to almost major player hub in the entire game, and they have a very limited impact on the wider environment. There's almost no significant debuffs attached to the operation of them. Fairly cost effective, tickets don't cost too much gold, but this is kind of map dependent. On the Japan map, for example, the trains are even float, and they have newly researched technology in maglev, and you can really reach some insane speeds. Why wouldn't you want to gracefully glide through the open world areas of the map and peacefully go to almost anywhere without too much hassle? The idea is great, but the execution on some other maps isn't ideal. Time after time, admins seem to be allergic to investing the necessary gold to improve them. Why? Well, beats me really. Would you rather A, have a peaceful 25-minute journey to work, consuming your breakfast and enjoying the scenic open world the game has to offer, or B, would you rather be stuck in a cramped car, breathing in fumes, getting a debuff for 50 minutes at a time? It's really a no-brainer. If you really want to have an S tier ride, then trams. Trams are the perfect synergy between car and rail, and they look so awesome, and man, look at them. I love trams, we all love trams, they're insanely good. I don't understand why more people don't use them. Finally, in our secret OP tier, we have cars, yes, but with wings. A few brave people are investing heavily into this, and the amount of red tape needed to break through in order to have this personal mount which can fly and go around at speed is insane. And yeah, this could pan out to be one of the worst ideas that humanity has ever had in the entire history of the entire game. And I'm not sure when I'm playing on my save file that I want to look up and see a bunch of players zooming around. But hey, someone is working on this. If someone can crack this, then great, it could be awesome. I wonder if we could have buses in the sky. Oh wait, they're just planes.